I understand it from a business perspective, from a professional perspective, and even from like the fan perspective in me, like when I retire one day and I'm sitting there rooting for the Chiefs, like Christmas is my favorite day of the year. And having to sit there and worry about them and or cover them is making me physically ill, just the thought of it.
It's That Football Show here on KC Sports Number. Tucker Franklin hanging out with Matt Verderame for your Wednesday edition of That Football Show. Thank you to our partners, Ben Holiday, Bottled in Bond Bourbon, Holiday Distillery. We'll be out there for the NFL draft. Well, I'll be out there for the NFL draft. Verderame,
I'll be right here.
He'll be right there.
I'll be drinking it as we're watching the NFL draft.
There you go. Perfect. That's a perfect little compromise there. How are you doing, Matt? You were down in Palm Beach at the owners' meetings. You flew in just for this podcast. You flew in just to get here in time for the podcast.
So look, I'm great. A little tired. Flight got delayed, and then we got to O'Hare, and they were like, "Listen, the gate we're at, there's like 2 other planes ahead of us, so we're gonna taxi forever." And I was sitting next to this little kid who was the sweetest little kid in the world, but also was just done at that point.
Right. I was a little kid. Yeah.
Yeah. I God bless her, man. But like, she was on there. Siblings were on there. Somebody had a dog on there. It was whatever. These 2 grown men behind me were like, "I have a golden doodle at home I need to get to." And then this other guy was like, "I also have a golden doodle." And they just sat there and they were like, "They're my children." And I was like, "All right, man, listen. All right, here, whatever. We're what? The show's a good time. It's pissed a lot of people off.
Right.
I love dogs.
Yeah.
Huge lover of animals. Okay. I grew up with dogs. First thing I did when I moved to Chicago was get a dog. Like, I love all dogs that are out there. Anytime we go to somebody's house, the dogs aren't petting it. Like that's who I am.
Right.
At the same point, stop saying animals are your kids. Stop it. They're not your kids. You can put your dog in a kennel, okay? I cannot put my kids in a kennel. And when you're sitting there like, "I have to get home to my golden doodle," he's probably wondering where you are. No, he's not. He's probably passed out on your couch, okay? Like, your dog's fine. It'll be okay. And then the other guy was like, "Well, I've got a babysitter for my dog." I'm like, "Bro, my God, are you serious?" Like, you have to be babysitting the dog. Now it's different than just going over and letting the dog out, right? Like, that's one thing.
Right.
But if you've got, like, this guy made it sound like it was a full-blown situation where like someone was like staying at the house, like just to like hug the dog at night. Like, what are we doing here? I got a lot of questions about people who it's like Father's Day or whatever, right? And they're on Facebook. They're like, "This is, I'm celebrating Father's Day because I have a golden lab." It's like, no, you're not. Like, you're not actually. Okay. But in any event, so I'm fine. The plane ride was a little interesting. But look, I mean, Palm Beach is the richest place I've ever been in my life. Absolutely the richest place I've ever been to.
Yeah.
The Breakers where the owners stayed, and I did not stay. Although that was a great bit all week when people, it's like immediate. "Oh, where are you staying?" And a lot of people, the first time they asked me, I'd be like, "Oh, here." And they'd be like, "What?" I'm like, "No, I'm just kidding. Marriott." But I mean, unbelievable, beautiful. Like one of those opulent places I've ever seen. Got a little pickleball in.
Oh.
The Cardinals PR head, Mark Dalton, turns out big pickleball guy. So I mentioned it at the bar one night, and he was like, we're playing tomorrow." So I had to go to the Breakers clubhouse and buy a hat and a shirt. I'm going to be paying that off for 4 years.
Right.
And then played pickleball in Jordans, which is like trying to play tennis in Jordans. But we made it happen. It was a good time. Nobody broke an ankle.
It's incredible. That's an
I got a little work in too, so that was it was good. Yeah, man, it was from that place. My God, is that place just?
Yeah.
I think a room's like $2,700 a night. It's
Lord,
dude, that feels cheap, honestly. If you're it's outrageous. Like there were little kids walking by me that were dressed in clothes, and I was like, that's worth more. You know, your clothing is worth more than like my house. And you're 6. I mean, just like the kind. Like, if you have enough money to stay there, there's got to be a part of you inside. It's like maybe I should donate a little bit more.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like maybe I should get back. But everybody I ran into there that was like a legit guest is super cool too. So, you know, but it was good. It was a good time. It was fun, man.
Nate was showing us a little bit of the breakers when we were doing Only Weird Games. He was like, "Look at these ceilings," and was showing us the ceiling. And I took a screenshot of it on the podcast. I tweeted it out of just Nate just turning his laptop and just showing the ceilings of the breakers. Incredible, extravagant venue.
Nate and I had many conversations while we were there. We were hanging out a little bit. We were talking about all that stuff. No, it is unbelievable how nice. Like, I honestly, when I pulled up in my Uber, I had never been there, of course, before. I pulled up. I was like, "There's no way they're letting me in." Like, they're gonna see me rolling up my Nautica polo, okay, and my very, you know, like run of the mill Lee jeans. Are you serious? Get out. You know, like I'm bringing down property values like 10%. But yeah, it was ridiculous. I had a handful of people who were there who were not NFL people, just like guests, who were like, "Hey, like, are you in the NFL?" I was like, not in the way you're thinking.
Adjacent.
Yeah. Like I'm part of the NFL world, but no. There was one girl who came up to me and another media member on Sunday night. And she, I think, was also kind of like on the periphery. I think more in the financial area. And I was like, "Hey, are you guys in the NFL?" And my buddy was like, "No, we're journalists." And her face, she's like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Yeah.
I just immediately was like, "Oh my God, this conversation's over. Have a nice night." Yeah.
Right.
No, it was, but it was an unbelievable place. Well, I got 5 drinks, and the bill was like $160. So, you know, and let the record show, 2 of them were for me. So yeah, it was, not inexpensive.
Yeah, look, and there are some things that came out of the owners' meetings as well, as we mentioned. Now, I don't think it was as an eventful owners' meetings as it has been in years past. Like, I don't think that like there was anything that was like earth shattering or groundbreaking about what came out of these owners' meetings. But a couple of notes we want to talk about, some rule changes. And this morning, the Athletic, and reporting done by Nate Taylor and Daniel Popper, they are reporting that the Chiefs and the Chargers will play in Brazil week 1. Interesting little nugget there, as well as the fact that the Chiefs want to remain a fixture and a mainstay on Christmas Day. Matt, I guess we'll start there with just the scheduling and those 2 games. Thoughts on kind of the Chiefs' positioning there when it comes to those 2 weeks?
All right. So here's the deal. It's not official that they're playing week 1 in Brazil, but
sure.
Sources have indicated to the Athletic that the Chiefs are the favorite to do so. I am not over the moon about the idea that the Chiefs are going to play on a field last year that nobody could stand up on for 3.5 solid hours. Although apparently, if you look at Super Bowl 57, might be the time to shine.
Great point.
I look forward after the game for the Chargers being like, "We would have won this game and had 12 sacks if we could have stood upright." Although Super Bowl 59's evidence that maybe, who knows? Look, I don't mind the international games. Like when they first started playing them way back when, I was like, okay, this is a gimmick and this is stupid and whatever. But like now, I actually think like the crowds are really fun because they just don't get the opportunity to see NFL football very often. Like when the Chiefs played the Dolphins in Germany, that was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had watching a game. I wasn't even there. But it seems like the Chargers have announced that they are playing in São Paulo week 1. So it would seem that they're the host team. That would also make sense from the standpoint that if you're the Chiefs, like your games at Arrowhead are more valuable to the NFL than their games at SoFi. Like, let's
100%.
be honest, right? Which, by the way, if that's the case, like if that is what ends up happening, that means the Chiefs have only 7 true road games and 9 home games.
Yeah.
Right? Because this is the year they have 9 home games. So, like, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, it is.
The downside of it is then you've got massive travel down to Brazil week 1. You got to come back. Now, you're going to get a couple extra days because it's probably going to be Friday night.
Right.
But, it's a lot. Like, it's a lot to put on that team. Like, they're already, like, their odometer's through the roof over the last 5 years now. It's like, hey, go to Brazil, right?
Right.
The only thing that would make that better if the NFL was like, it's a Wednesday morning game. Like, they just play it at like 7 a.m. The Christmas thing, I know, like, it was reported out as well in the same article that Clark Hunt wants the Chiefs to become the Christmas team. How, like, Cowboys and the Lions have commandeered Thanksgiving. I understand it from a business perspective, from a professional perspective, and even from, like, the fan perspective in me, like, when I retire one day and I'm sitting there rooting for the Chiefs, like, Christmas is my favorite day of the year, and having to sit there and worry about them and or cover them is making me physically ill, just the thought of it. I just want to enjoy Christmas. Like, I don't want to have to sit there and sweat it out. Or like in 20 years from now, and if and when they suck, and it's like, well, great, let's get up on Christmas and have them ruin it. Like, I don't know. I get it. I totally understand why Clark Hunt wants it. And let's be real, man. If he wants it, he's getting it. Do the NFL say, no, like, we don't want Mahomes on Christmas for the next 12 years? Like, of course you do. My only question would be, does that mean, like, Detroit and Dallas, that every game on Christmas is at Arrowhead?
Interesting, yeah.
Because last year, Pittsburgh, the first game was at Arrowhead we don't even talk about that game. But
right.
Would they, now, of course, the Chiefs have played on Christmas over the years. I mean, they had the famous game in 1971, the Christmas Day game, the longest game ever played. What are your thoughts? Do you like the Christmas thing, or do you want to put your head in the oven?
No, I think the Christmas thing is the worst.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the worst. And look, I think we should get out ahead of this, Matt. I think that people, I can already read the comment section that people are saying, like, well, I'd kill to have your job. Cool, like, I appreciate that, but like, it's still, you have to work on Christmas. That's not very fun. And I know a lot of these guys, like, those guys got to play on Christmas. You're moving the holiday to a different day. I know that, like, the NFL's kind of gotten used to that with Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving, to an extent, is not as big of a holiday as Christmas is.
No,
for a lot of people.
No, you're just sitting there eating like an asshole. Like, you're eating dinner at like 1:00 in the afternoon. Right. And then you're like, what else are we doing? Like, oh, the Cowboys are on getting killed by somebody. By the way, the Chiefs play in Dallas this year.
They do. And I was wondering if they're going to double it up. That would suck.
I'm going to be divorced, man. If I got to sit down and tell my wife, we have a 7-year-old, and now, hey, by the way, shout out to my youngest daughter, Genevieve, who turns 3 today.
So,
yeah. Woke up this morning and just went, cake. I'm like, yeah, cake. She's a Verderame after all. But in any event, yeah, I'm sure my wife is going to love, hey, hun, Thanksgiving, Christmas, the entire month of January, I'm out. I'm completely out. Because if you look at the calendar this year, so obviously Thanksgiving, of course, is on a Thursday. It will be November 27th this year. And then Christmas this year on a Thursday. You know what else is a Thursday? Fucking New Year's.
Yep.
Okay? So the NFL, like, the only saving grace might be that they're like, all right, college is time. Like, we got to kind of get the hell out of the way.
Right.
But I got to tell you, if you think that, consider the following. For years, the NBA was like, the NFL wouldn't play Christmas on a Wednesday.
Right.
Would they? And the NFL was like, guess what? Doubleheader.
2 big middle fingers, pretty much.
And now they need a third middle finger. They're like, triple header, here we go. Like, the NBA is like, great, our day's done now.
Yeah.
Like, they could have the Celtics and the Knicks playing, or the Celtics and the Lakers, or whoever you want to be on, the Knicks and the Lakers, or some 2 huge market. And the NFL could play like, I don't know, I'm trying to get to Jacksonville and Cleveland and it will outrate the NBA game by 5-fold. Like, it won't even be close. Like, people are going to be sitting there gambling like degenerates on Christmas. Like, Trevor Lawrence is going to hit the over. It's, oh my God, man. It really is. Like, the last show we did, you mentioned that you didn't know if you went too far saying the Fanatics might be a terrorist organization.
I forgot
I told somebody that story at the owners meetings. I told Matt Hamilton. It was hysterical.
Oh, see, perfect.
And I almost feel like in the same vein. Like, are we approaching that with the NFL here, with Christmas, with the Chiefs? Like, what? Like, important. Like, we're Nate Taylor, our colleague. Like,
yeah,
the poor guy. Like, he's got a young family.
He does.
His
wife is pregnant.
Children.
Right.
It's like, hey guys, we're gonna have Christmas in January, because Chiefs are gonna be hosting the God only knows who this year. And also, lastly, but one last thought for me, and I'll shut the hell up. If you look at their home slate this year, a lot of options to play on Christmas. A lot of options. Their road slate, the Chiefs, honest to God, may not lose a game. Their home slate, obviously the 3 divisional teams.
Mm-hmm.
They've got Houston and Indy. Okay, probably not one of those 2 teams. Houston's like possible, but probably not. But then you've got, so I'll make sure I'm right with this. You've got Philadelphia, you've got Baltimore, and you've got Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Any of those games are a possible Christmas take.
I think you're missing one.
Oh, God.
Did you already say Washington? No, did you already say Washington?
I didn't say Washington. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so.
Uh-huh.
Any of those games are possible Christmas Day games.
Yeah. It's a little bit better than I thought it was. Oh my gosh, their away schedule's hilarious.
Their away schedule, they might not lose a game. The only one that's tough is Buffalo.
Then they go to Dallas, they go to Jacksonville, go to New York, play the Giants.
Tennessee, I believe.
Yep.
I mean, oh my God, man. And like the Chargers game may very well not even be a road game. The Chargers and Raiders, those are home games anyway. If 8,000 fans in every one of those, if they play in Brazil, that place is going to be Arrowhead, South America. Like, everybody and their mother's going to go down there.
Hey, now don't give Clark any ideas. Maybe he'll introduce a tax vote for them down there too.
Clark's like, hey, listen, you guys aren't paying for the canopy walk. We're moving the team to São Paulo. They're willing to give us funds.
So what's really interesting about this too is we're going to get into schedule talk already in April. But when I had looked at this schedule, the Chiefs had, I think, already signed like a contract to play 2 Germany games, if I remember correctly. Like they said that, like, well, yeah, we're going to play in Germany twice. And the Colts were one of the teams this year that said they were already playing. So I was like, well, they're going to play the Colts in Germany. So this kind of adds a wrinkle to it. Like, they're not going to play 2 international games. The NFL,
no,
wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I do that.
Right. They wouldn't give the Chiefs 2 international games yet. So that would mean, like, week 1, you have your international game. Fine, get it out of the way. Whatever. At least both the teams aren't wearing green, a band color in Brazil. That's probably a good call there. But they're going to play another game in Germany. I think that's already kind of been decided when they took on the rights for Germany. And like they got I don't know if you saw, they got Ireland now as one of their rights for their markets. Like we're claiming territory, like it's Catan or something like that. I don't know. I've never actually played Catan, so if you don't actually do that,
it's a possible place that they could play a game that's like actually like possible, like not like.
So Australia is not possible. That's the other thing, is that like people will keep wanting to force Australia. I don't think it's possible. The time difference.
Pretty sure the Rams are playing there this year.
That's bullshit. The time difference is so much. Yeah, go check that, because I don't. That one to me is just like, that one doesn't make any logistical sense to me. If I know the logistics,
playing in 2026 in Australia. That's right. So your answer's already been thwarted because it's happening.
Whatever.
Like
Philippines.
The Philippines. Okay. Because am I dreaming? Am I making this up that the United Arab Emirates is like gonna?
Oh yeah, they want to do a midweek game.
A midweek game. gonna short rest it going over to the United Arab Emirates. That's unbelievable. You imagine Thursday Night Football, United Arab Emirates. It's like, hey guys, we're going over.
Thursday football played at 6 a.m.
I think the funniest possible, like, I'm trying to think in terms of like the time, but also the travel.
Yeah.
What if they played in like a remoter part of like this, like the old Soviet Union, like just Leningrad,
Right.
playing in Leningrad because they gave us enough money to make it happen.
Yeah.
Like, is there a point where the NFL just goes, listen, we can't.
No, that's the thing.
I'm with you. I don't think there's any point that the NFL, like, if Saudi Arabia came calling, it was like, hey, listen, we're going to need you to pair with Live Golf because that's on. It's not looking good. So we're going to need you to help prop it up. Like, it's just, I don't know, man. So the CBA runs through the 2030 season.
Right.
If I were the players, that would be like my like Custard's last stand thing. I'd be like, look,
it's gotta be.
Like, we are going to agree on like 3 to 4 places we'll play internationally, and that is it. Like, and the only place, the only thing we're doing, we're playing one time a year or whatever. All those Shad Khan's like, no, England, like 6 times a year. Shad Khan's ready to move over there tomorrow. By the way, do you know, I've been talking to some people about this, which I think this is like fairly common knowledge in Jacksonville, but I don't know that it is outside of Jacksonville yet. So, semi-breaking this. So the Jags are getting a new stadium.
Right.
In Jacksonville, by the way, might add, not like over in London. Next year, they're reducing down to half capacity for the stadium.
Okay.
And then the following year, they just can't play in Jacksonville.
Do they have a plan of like where they're going to play?
They're working on it. It seems like Camping World Stadium in Orlando is probably it.
Okay.
That 2-hour ride.
Yeah, is not close.
Yeah. So good times for Jacksonville. Half capacity for 1 year, and then just not having a home stadium because I guess it's like it's interfering with the construction and all.
Right, they gotta like tear it down. Yeah.
So that sounds fun. But yeah, let's get this back to the Chiefs here. Like, so Clark Hunt in that Athletic article,
right?
I may read it. The actual quote here says, "Quote: Okay, so on Monday, Hunt was asked a question that made him chuckle. How do you feel about the Chiefs being the new America's team? Now, like most people, you were an owner of a team, but that's great. Here's Clark Hunt's answer. Quote: Well, our goal is to be the world's team. That starts with being one of the top teams here in the United States. It's a credit to our players, some of the personalities that we have on the team, and certainly the success we've had the last 6 years. Our TV ratings have been very high whenever we play. We also have some very special fans who help drive those numbers as well." And in parentheses, after fans, he said of Taylor Swift, who is dating Kelsey. So that context was added. And then also, if it were up to Hunt, he would have the Chiefs play an international game and the holiday game every season to help grow the franchise's brand. I mean, thank God I'm not a beat writer of the team. Like, poor Nate, God bless him. I hope he's ready for Sri Lanka in 2028 because you get it. Okay? I hope he's ready because here it comes.
Thailand, coming up
Bangladesh, 2032. Okay? Like, so I thank God at least I don't have to deal with that. But like, just but then it's like all these standalone games, from a national perspective for SI. Like, let's be real. If the Chiefs are involved, I know who's getting that assignment. Like, okay, I know who's getting that phone call. Which normally is great. Like, if they're in the playoffs, they're like, hey, Matt, you're going to Arrowhead. Awesome. Never going to complain about it. But, like, oh, my God, man. Like, stop playing these weirdo, like, 8:30 in the morning games. The only good thing about Brazil is it's in our time zone.
That's true. That is true.
So it's a normal, like, it's not like one of these, like, hey, you want to wake up at 6 a.m. to watch them play? Like, no, not really. So, yeah. But last year, top 5 NFL games in terms of rating. Would you like to take a guess how many the Chiefs were involved in?
You said top 5?
Top 5. Regular season, no playoffs included.
Okay, top 5 regular season. I'm going to go 4.
Correct. Do you know the 4 that they were involved in?
Probably the Bills regular season, I would assume.
Number 1, not even close.
Yep. And then probably opening night.
Number 2.
I'll let this on the record. I haven't seen this list. It sounds like I haven't seen this list.
They're also 3 and 5. These are a little bit more difficult, but
I'm trying to think who else they played in primetime. Primetime games, I assume.
Neither one of them were.
Neither one of them were.
And they were still top 5. They weren't even in prime time.
Wow, so like Steelers Christmas?
Nope.
That wasn't on there. Interesting. Wow. Neither one in primetime. Carolina?
No, that's not nuts.
Oh, okay. That's fine. I'm trying to think who else they played not in primetime. So it'd be like probably like the Chargers or the Broncos, right?
So I should clarify this. They're excluding games that are on NFL Network, Peacock, or ESPN. So they're non-primetime games. Although that's bullshit because week 1 was a primetime game on NBC.
That is very true.
I don't understand the clarification. Okay, but anyway, all right. So number 3 was when they played the Bengals.
Oh, I forgot about that game.
Yeah.
That game was very forgettable for me for some reason.
Somehow they won the last second field goal, but I was just irate with them the entire game.
Yeah.
It just couldn't have been any worse.
Right.
Jamar Chase started to fight Trent McDuffie because he tackled him.
Yes.
And then week 7 they played the Niners.
Oh yeah. I forgot they played both of those teams.
The only game that broke the Chiefs' stranglehold on just a clean sweep was Baltimore-Dallas in week 3. Yeah, what? I don't know.
And then when Baltimore ran it up on them too. And Baltimore whooped the shit out of it.
Yeah, that's why everybody all got a good look at the Cowboys and are like, all right, take the under.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's look, like I said, if you're the NFL, you're sitting there going, they want to be on Christmas and they want to play internationally. It was like a lot of teams I would imagine are like, we're good. Please don't make us do this.
Right.
I wonder though, if you're Clark, do you have enough panache at this point to be like, look, we play internationally. It's a road game.
Yeah.
You know, like, and the Christmas Day game, is that just always a home game?
I think that's what he's angling for. From what I take away from the article that was written is like he wants to be a mainstay like the Lions and the Cowboys are. Those two teams play home games every single Thanksgiving Day. So like I think that's kind of what he's angling for.
When the Chiefs were in the American Football League in the 60s, did they always host on Thanksgiving?
I don't know.
Making that up in my head, I might be. Because I could see that being like a thing where he's like, well, my dad, like, you know.
That would be a very Clark thing to do.
Yeah, like I could, yeah. Well, he's, obviously super close to his father.
Right. There's nothing wrong with that. I want that to be clear. There's nothing wrong to be proud of what your father did. There's nothing
like, yeah, real son of a.
I want that on the record.
Terrible person. I'm trying to see. Did the Chiefs? You know what? Here, throw out the break, and I'll answer on the other side.
All right, let's take a break. We'll be back on the other side to talk about some NFL rule changes and more. Chiefs.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story, like Brain Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Brain Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Are you ready to win real money this March? Struggling to choose which team will pull off an upset? Forget about the teams. All you need to focus on are player stats to rack up big cash prizes with DraftKings Pick 6. And when it comes to the massive payouts, DraftKings dunks over all the competition. Pick 6 is available in most states, including Missouri, California, Texas, Georgia, and more. Track your picks for a shot to win huge cash prizes. It's as simple as that. All you have to do is pick which players you think will score, rebound, get assists, and fill up the stat sheet, and you can win. It's that easy. So turn your college basketball knowledge into cash today. New players get $50 in Pick 6 credits instantly with just a $5 entry. So download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN for new customers to play $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited, 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promo.
Security message. Your computer has been locked up.
Awesome. There we go. Yeah, that's what you get when you go to talesoftheafl.com. Okay? That's what you get. That's always fun. You know? I got to tell you, though, that's the first time it's ever happened where I wasn't like, oh, God, what site did I go to? I was just like, what the hell is this? What is this pop-up ad doing? That's not good. Leave that in, by the way.
Oh, it's staying in. I'm not taking that out. That is hilarious. I had a mouthful of protein shake. I was trying not to.
I swear to God, I wasn't on a site I shouldn't have been on. What the hell was that? I typed in Chiefs AFL Thanksgiving and went to talesfromtheamericanfootballleague.com, and somehow that happened. All right, let's go to the Pro Football Hall of Fame website.
There we go.
That doesn't bring down the company. All right, so in 1960, they played on Thanksgiving as the Dallas Texans.
Yeah.
And then they also did it the last 3 years of the AFL. So, does that count as tradition? I don't.
Is 3 years tradition? So, like, that's the thing too. Is like once the Chiefs have already hosted or had played on the Christmas Day twice, I was like, wow, one more year and it's a thing.
Right, we're getting there. Yeah. No, right. So it's close. By the way, a funny note on that ad, it just started going off like I had set off a nuclear code. Right. In college, I don't know how to word this professionally. You're in college, you do things that are stupid, but also in retrospect, hilarious. And I lived with 5 other guys on campus. We had a common room, and then it was like 2 to a bedroom, 3 bedrooms, and a bathroom, whatever. Great guys, all got along super well. Always busting chops. And one of our roommates had to go to take his final, and we always knew he was playing poker on his phone and screwing around or whatever. So, I remember we debated would he actually open his phone during a final? Would he do that? And we're like, oh yeah, he's an idiot. He would do it. He would definitely do it. So we sent them this thing. For the life of me, I couldn't tell you how. I forget how we came about it, but you opened it up. It presented like a text message, but if you opened it up, it just turns your phone to full volume and started screaming out that you were watching pornography. And we sent it to him in the middle of the final, and of course, opens it, and then we didn't know if he opened it or not. Till he came back to the dorm room, and he's like, "That's great, guys. Real great. Almost got flunked out of the course. I thought I was trying to cheat on the test. Got a lot of dirty looks on the way out of there. It was great.
That's hilarious.
Good time. But yeah, I'm sure it made it sound just like that.
Yeah.
So it's good.
That was an aggressive pop-up ad. By the
That was insane.
So your computer is locked up. It's what it says. That you will not be able to use your computer.
All I had to do was just X the tab out. It wasn't what I was locked up, but
Right.
no.
Imagine, but here's the other thing is that like I understand that these people who are doing this pop-up ad know their clientele. They're gonna know that their clientele aren't really gonna know that they gotta click the X because they're on like talesfromtheamericanfootballleague.com, and people looking that stuff up probably aren't savvy enough, to know that all they gotta do is click the X.
Myrtle, throw it in the river. God, man. I'm just like, what is happening? Good. So, anyway, I almost put the computer, my SI work computer, into arrhythmia to find out that they played 4 Thanksgiving Day games in the AFL, the first one and then the last 3. So, yeah, I wonder if that's a little bit of it. And they've played Thanksgiving games in the past. They've played some Christmas games. They apparently are all about Black Friday.
I forgot about
that. Hey, man, you want a holiday with the family? Not on Clark's watch. Okay? Never.
That's why they're not too interested in playing Thanksgiving, right? Because they're like, nah, we have our own holiday. Black Friday.
Thanksgiving is for the peasants. Like we play on Christmas. Okay. Like the Cowboys and the Lions, a joke. Like we're playing many people is the holiest day of the year. We don't give a damn. You go light a candle for us, and then you watch. That's where the Chiefs are at.
It is. That's where the Chiefs are at. All right, let's talk about some rule changes. Again, a fairly uneventful, as I mentioned at the top, uneventful in terms of the rule changes. Obviously, the big one is overtime is going to be the same from the playoffs and regular season. Both teams will get to have the ball. I did think it was funny. It was tweeted out that, hey, they're going to approve this overtime rule, but they're going to keep overtime at 10 minutes. They're not going to bump it to 15 minutes, even though they're going to get it. And people are like, oh, okay. Player safety. No, they just don't want the games to bleed into the other games. That's really why they're going to keep it at 10 minutes, because they don't want the game bleed to happen. Shout out to that for why. Yeah. So that's awesome. Thoughts on the overtime rule becoming just a mainstay in all competitive competitions?
I'm physically ill about it. No, I'm not really. Look, I don't mind that each team gets to possess the ball. Although there is a part of me that's like, if you kick off and you just get your ass dog walk down the field, it's kind of your problem. Like, how about playing defense and stuff, right? Like, I don't know.
Well, have a little accountability,
I feel like Kyle Shanahan saw that rule and was like, oh my God, I hope he just loses the toss, because I don't want to have to make the decision. Please. How funny would it be if, like, they're the ones that, like, they're the first ones involved in this, and he's like, all right, we're kicking. Learned our lesson. It would be amazing. But in any event, I think it's going to be a great moment in the NFL. No, look, I mean, I'm fine with it, both teams getting the ball, but I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm not the first one to say this, but it was my first thought as well. I think the unintended consequences, you're going to get a lot more ties.
Yeah.
Right? Because think about it. I mean, so if they didn't expand it to 15 minutes, which I would have said is the right move, but fine. Okay. You're right as to why they didn't do it. They didn't want it to go over into the next thing. So now you're sitting there going, okay, well, 10 minutes. If a team gets the ball and has let's call it a 5-6 minute drive, and they score a touchdown, or even, field goal, whatever, and then the other team gets the ball and it's a 3.5 minute drive, and they even the score up, it's ball game, right? Like, I almost wonder seriously at the end of the year, like specifically Week 18. Remember a couple of years ago when the Raiders and Chargers played that wild game that should have ended in a tie that would have got them both in the playoffs, and then Brandon Staley was like, "Fuck that. We're in no position to win the game, but we could lose it, and I'm going to keep that in play." And then they lost. I wonder if there's a world where, like, you get some situations like that in the future, and these teams are like, look, they're going to play harder in that, but like, if you get it to a certain point of the game, you're just like, look, man, hey, let's not kill the golden goose here. I mean, That's probably going to be an extremely rare circumstance. Like, I'm not saying that's something the NFL really needs to factor in, but I'm just kind of an interesting thought, or at least it is to me. But yeah, I think there's going to be more ties. I think there's going to be a lot more ties just based on the fact that these teams are going, screw it. Let's tie it up, and call it good, because, a tie, while not a win, I know this sounds really elementary, also not a loss. So, it's not burying you. I do think it will end in that, and I wonder if that will make the NFL go to 15 minutes in coming years.
They also, they as in the NFL, approved a significant change to the league's structure with replay. And I think this is probably the right call in terms of using the technology, but I also worry about the length that, like, we've already kind of seen it in practice a little bit in terms of how they've been able to institute this. And I think it's going to be similar to like where they just like radio down and be like, hey, you guys kind of missed that one. That one was kind of bad. I think that's kind of what it's going to be more of than instead of like, I think it's for picking flags up, correct? It's not necessarily for throwing flags. It's only for like,
they can't throw flags based off of it. No.
Correct. So they're expanding that there. I think that's probably the right move to use the technology that you have. Speaking of technology, Hawkeye is going to be the primary term of measuring first downs. I'm going to be interested to see how that works out and to see how good it is, because as Nate Taylor pointed out in Only Weird Games, Hawkeye is good until it isn't. In tennis, they use Hawkeye a lot, and it's right a lot. Sometimes it's not, and that's going to be a tough spot.
I don't care how anybody feels about this. I've got a thought. Like, I try not to overheat when I have one, but I hate that the chain gang has been relegated to emergency duty.
Yeah.
You know what? The damn chain gang is fun. I like when these guys who are like 70 years old come, toddling out there. And you know what? I'll tell you what. What was one of the most memorable moments of last year? When the Bills, for the 80th time, couldn't get a half a foot on a snake.
Yeah.
We had this Hawkeye bullshit. We had a couple of old guys running out there with chains, and you're like, hey, we're about to find out the biggest play of either one of these teams' season right now. There's drama in that, man. When the one guy puts the damn thing in the ground, the other guy's stretching the chain. Like, there's something I will miss that. I will genuinely miss that. I am openly rooting for Hawkeye to fail miserably in a playoff game. And I don't mean like to screw somebody. I mean like the technology itself fails. And they're like, we need to go to the chain gang. And they just show some guy with like a tear in his eye, just proudly standing there with this big orange stick. And they're all right, I'm back. And it's like, I want that to come into play in like some game where it's so damn cold, like the chip in the ball freezes. And like, it's not working. And you're like, don't worry, Larry and Bob have it covered. And they just come running out. The only thing that would make it better is because of all the conspiracy stuff. If it happens at Arrowhead,
right?
And then they get a call like they got last year, and then Larry, it turns like people are just like looking up, like they're doxing Larry. He's on the take,
right?
He grew up in Overland Park. He's a Chiefs fan. Like, I'm here for all of it. But no, I mean, I like the instant replay getting expanded. That seems easy enough. That was actually really seamless last year when they did a lot of that eye in the sky stuff. So I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
I hate the whole chip in the ball thing. It's the same damn way I feel about like, oh, we got to go to robo-umps. No, we don't. You know what? If a guy calls a strike 2 inches off the plate, I want somebody to start screaming at the ump's face. I want that. Baseball can be tedious and boring. I want somebody to come out with their blood pressure at like 200 over 190, just screaming about a ball that was an inch off the plate. I want that. Mm-hmm. I don't want something behind the plate going strike one. And you can't argue with it. You can't do anything. That's bull. The human element makes sports more fun. It just does.
I agree.
All these people who are like, there's no other better way to do this. Of course, there's 8,000 better ways to do it than have two old guys with a chain run out there. But damn it, do you have no soul? Like, that's what makes it fun. I will miss that dearly.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network. Entertain, educate, inform. KC Sports Network.
It is interesting to note too, like this is not for spotting the ball. Like the official's going to spot the ball to determine if it's first down. Is kind of where the Hawkeye comes into play here. And I think that's interesting to note in terms of how the Hawkeye will be used. But I agree with you. The human element of sports is one that should not just be so carelessly thrown aside like this. I understand we have technology. If we have technology, we should use it. But I think there's a good balance between replay and technology and overturning egregious calls, right? Getting the right call in the field, I'm all for it. But like, let's make sports what they are, right? Like sports are games. Like they're supposed to be fun. They're not supposed to be this high scientifical technology stuff for nerds. It's supposed to be for cool people, not for nerds.
Keep the nerds.
That's my take.
Keep the nerds. The nerds. The nerds are the same damn people who for 10 years have been running backs don't matter. Yeah, how's that going? How's that going right about now? Great take, guys. Great take. You know, like, yeah, a lot of grunting now. I gotta tell you, didn't hear a whole lot of those people when the Eagles and Ravens were playing last year. You know, or when
my spreadsheet told me.
Yeah. So my says that Saquon Barkley and Kenneth Gainwell are the same guy. Yeah, okay. Like, how's that going? Same people have to say that stat yards over expectation. Like, how the hell do you know? What is he supposed to go down on second contact? Like what the hell is that? It's ridiculous. Yeah. You don't know that. You know, I gotta tell you, his yards over expectation, hell of a lot different if it's Derrick Henry, okay, or Jackie Battle. No offense to Jackie Battle. Don't mean to be the captain stray, sir. But like, little bit different, you know, just saying, like, how the hell, like, who is charting that? Who's sitting there like, he should have gotten 2.8 yards? How the hell do you know? What are you, him? Like, no,
did you ask him?
You know, the Hawkeye stuff, it lets these people win. Don't let them win. Don't let them win. They won in baseball. Look what happened. Guys are striking out 300 times a year, for Christ's sake. The starting pitcher duels I grew up with had Pedro and Clemens going 7. Now it's like, well, you know, we have an opener. And then this guy, he's pitching a no-hitter in the World Series, Blake Snell. But we've got to yank him out of the game because he's hit 100 pitches. Like, I've always wondered that. On the 101st pitch, is his arm just going to blow off of his body? Like, is there some kind of science behind this? It's just like at pitch 101, he dies. He physically dies. I got to tell you, man, if I was a pitcher in Major League Baseball, if I had any kind of talent like that, if I was a pitcher in Major League Baseball in a big spot and I was rolling, and my manager's like, hey, Matt, listen, know you're throwing a one-hitter with 9 strikeouts, but we're going to the 7th. And we're all about our 2 setup guys and our closer, and you're at 98 pitches. You know, great job. I'm dead serious. I'd fight the guy.
Yeah, well, you should.
There is no effing chance I'm coming out of this game right now. I know Matt Harvey did that once with the Royals in the World Series and lost.
I think I
always respected him for it.
Yeah.
This is my game, win or lose. Like, I'm going out there and I'm getting the job done. I'm not turning it over to some bullshit come out of the pen who's going to come out here and look like he just saw a nom, and he's going to go out here and throw 4 wide and get up a 2-run homer. Like, I don't know, man. The nerds have gotten involved in a way where, like, now, like, the NBA is a 3-point shooting contest,
right?
And baseball's like, well, you know, you can't hit a ground ball. That's can't steal a base. What if you get thrown out?
Right. Yeah.
Nerd.
Anti-nerd podcast. We're very firmly anti-nerd on this podcast.
Completely anti-nerd. Stop it. Get out of sports. It's what I love about hockey's like, no. Right. We won't bow to them.
They don't give a rat's ass.
His Corsi percentage. It's like, fuck his Corsi percentage. You know, it's like, nobody cares. Like, no, we refuse to adhere to it. Like, Good.
Skate hard. How are you on the forecheck?
Go out there and shoot it under the crossbar. Do that. And if it doesn't work, just run the goaltender. It's fine. You know, we'll get into a fight. We'll sort it out in 5 minutes in the box, and we'll be fine with it.
How many nucks do you chuck? That's what I want to know. That's the stat. Nucks chucked over expected. Give me that stat, nerds.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Here's the world the nerds are trying to take away from you. It's just a good old-fashioned human element. You know?
I know.
Now, listen, there have been some things in sports that as it's happened, I've been like, all right, it's probably time, right? Like, for an example, baseball putting netting up down the lines.
Yeah, that probably.
Part of me that, like, when at first I was like, man, really? Like, you know, but then you're like, man, I also remember it's a wicked liner. You're like, oh my God, Grandma, get out of the way.
It's like piss missiles coming down.
I remember one time being at a Devils game as a kid. It was before, like, now they've got netting behind the end glass. So if if shot gets deflected, whatever, it gets caught up. Because tragically, a kid died years ago, and they went to it. But when I was a kid, there was no netting back then. And I remember they're warming up, and one of the Devils players takes a shot, hits the crossbar, ricochets up over the glass at like 90 miles an hour, and drills this woman. I mean, facial, man, just bang, right in the dome. She goes down. They got a paramedic her out of there. Everybody's watching this because in pregame, like, oh my God, is she dead? And like, who the hell knows? PA announcer comes on during a commercial break in the first period. Hey, everybody, she's okay. And everybody's like, yeah. It's like, I'm glad there's the netting now. But there's also a part of me that misses just being like, that whole first period, like, you think she's going to make it? You know? Like, there was, that, by the way, was the same game that the national anthem got sung wrong, and the guy next to me threw up all over the place during it. He was so drunk during the anthem. Yeah, welcome to New Jersey, okay? He was so drunk he couldn't make it to the anthem. I don't know. My point is, I enjoy that sports are not perfect. I enjoy that there is an element of, like, hey, something might happen. And I'm not saying I enjoy a horrible call or a team getting jobbed. But I enjoy that there's a human element to it, and the nerds are trying to take it away, and I'm not okay with that. Stay the hell away from me, nerd.
Speaking of nerds, they changed the kickoff rule again.
Yeah.
Touch back to the 35.
Can anyone explain this? Like, they want more returns, right? Which is why they're doing it.
Right.
You know what had more returns? The damn thing you were doing 10 years ago when you kicked off from the 30 and everybody returned kicks. And then they were like, well, you know what? It's a safety rule. So now we're going to go to 35. And then everybody started bombing them out of the end zone. Mm-hmm. And then somehow they were like, all right, look, now we're going to make it safer because guys will run down the field 1,000 miles an hour. It's like, oh, okay, fine. I'm fine with that. I truly am. Like, I'm fine with that. But now they're like, you know what we need? More head-on collisions on the kickoff. So we're going to, like, why don't you just go back to what it was? And if you want to argue, hey, we don't want guys running 1 million miles an hour down the field, fine, okay.
Yeah.
But it feels like we just did a big damn loop to get to the same point. I don't know. Just feels like it's circuitous.
Before you know it, we'll be going back to wedge busters.
Great that if the NFL is like, you know what, the wedge back in. We need more returns. Very pro wedge here with Gazelle.
Bring back the wedge.
When you think about that, that's like the one thing that we all got to see. It's like such an old school football thing. Like back in the day, you could clothesline somebody, all that crap, but like, we never saw it. You think back now, 4 massive human beings who run a 4-5, like the 4 linebackers who were your depth guys with nothing to lose, were just locking arms. Here it comes. And then like some poor bastard was like, all right, man, you got to get in there and blow the wedge up.
Right. You're the wedge buster.
1,000 pounds of mass coming at you, locked arms, like it's tribal warfare. You got to just,
it really was.
Cornerback should just launch himself in there.
I remember when I was in high school, the wedge was still legal, and I was a part of the wedge in high school as an offensive lineman. They're like, we got to have you on kickoff return. Got to get you in there and get to that wedge set. But I think that's all the rules. I think we hit all the rules. Tush push is not going to be voted on. It's tush push was pushed. And Matt, can I be honest? I don't give a rat's ass what they do with the tush push. I don't care.
Thank God. It's not just me. I'm the same. Like, can we stop talking about it? I don't like, whatever. I don't care. The Eagles are the only team that's great at it. Like, I feel like they deserve to be able to do it. They're good at it. Like, I don't know. I mean, the Bills are the second best team out of last year, statistically speaking. How'd that go in the playoffs? Spagnuolo took one look at it and was like, they always go over the same gap, and then the Chiefs were like, awesome. Well, here it comes. And I was, I want the Chiefs to do it.
They'll never do it.
Mahomes is rifling in there, and can you imagine if they did it on a primetime game? Like, it's just a huge moment in some, maybe like a playoff game, and Nance is losing his mind because, he's called like every game for the last 6 years. He knows they don't do it.
Right.
Then all of a sudden they get in a formation. You're like, oh, you can't be doing it. And then like Tony, Romo jump in and be, there's no way, Jim. There's no way. They haven't done this since 1979. And then they do it. And then Nance is like, my God, they've done it. And it would be against the Bills, and they'd run for like 25 yards and score a touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would just be like, that would be the most Bills thing ever. He blows through the line, goes untouched. Yeah. But I don't care. I don't care. If they ban it, fine. If they don't, but here's a real easy solution. Just go back to the rule they used to have in the NFL. Offensive players can't push guys with the ball forward.
Yeah. There you go. Why that was changed. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Done. And I don't have a problem with that anyway, because I feel like that's cheap sometimes when it's a regular quarterback sneak and the guy gets stuffed, and then like three people just jam him forward. And you're like, man, the defense kind of earned that stop.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. I just do that. And it's over with. Which, by the way, talking to people in the league, I think that is what might actually happen.
I think it's the smart play to do it. Like, say, yeah, you can still quarterback sneak. Just don't push him. You just can't push him from behind. Which seems pretty logical, right? I mean, I don't know. But that seems pretty logical to me. All right. That's probably going to do it for this week's, or for this Wednesday edition of That Football Show. Any final thoughts, Matt, before we head out of here?
I've said all I have to say.
Fair enough. That's going to do it for That Football Show. Thank you to Ben Holiday, Bald, and Bond Bourbon. We'll be back on Saturday with an episode where we're going to be doing power rankings and talking about some more stuff, probably. Who knows? We'll talk to you later.